Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions regarding this watch. From the outside to the inside, this is pretty close to the perfect tourbillon watch from Jaeger-LeCoultre. You're looking at the Master Ultra Thin Tourbillon. It is 40 millimeters in diameter, 10.9 millimeters thick, and from lug tip to lug tip, 46.6 millimeters with a 21 millimeter spacing in between the lugs. This is hard to fault. The only question here is, do you prefer a dial side tourbillon, which most do, or a case back tourbillon? If you're the dial side guy, get ready. You found your watch. Throwing it on the wrist, my wrist is 16 centimeters in circumference. It's comfortable, especially as the strap loosens up, softens up, and stops pulling my wrist so tight. Get rid of the stiffness, and all of a sudden you've got a watch that's going to be so far inboard of the edge of a normal-sized wrist that I could recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference. Take a look at the cuff shot. It's thin already, but with a sloped case flank and a sloped bezel, it'll slide easily under a dress cuff. Like I said, the strap starts stiff, it'll soften up. JLC uses high-quality, large rectangular scale alligator leather, a little bit of bolstering or stuffing to give it volume, a monotone stitch, a medium brown semi-gloss finish, a cut edge that's been lacquered for refinement, calfskin on the bottom, and then we have pull tab spring bars so you can pop the strap off without a tool. We also have absolutely no crimping and no gouging on this JLC factory strap. And I'm happy to see this because JLC no longer universally fits these, but a full folding clasp on a flagship complication. It, like the watch, is in pink gold. Now, the case. Finer than the Master series of the 2000s and early 2010s. You can see the Master Ultra Thin takes its cues from JLC Ultra Thin watches. So not only do you have these beautifully sculpted and soft beveled tapered lugs, but you can see how it actually wears even flatter on the wrist than its 10.9 millimeter thickness would suggest. The cupped case back is stepped inward. The watch looks and sits even flatter. So Master Ultra Thin indeed. Maybe not ultra thin, but certainly thin. And we have this beautiful compound curvature about the case, and I really like this expanding soft bevel. The bezel itself is a fascinating thing because whereas the case is sinuous with compound curves, the bezel has very hard angularity to it. A vertical step, a conical step, then one more step before a very flat, minimally cambered sapphire. And we have a JL crown right here. The dial is described as eggshell, and I agree. It's got a very soft, frosted finish. It glows rather than shines brightly. We have these lovely little cabochon, or beaded, minutes on the minute track, and then we have applique faceted dart-style hour indices. We have Dauphine hands at center, which are half brushed and half polished for better contrast. The JL logo, and you can really see that eggshell texture along with the creamy, like eggshell tone of the dial itself. And then the tourbillon. JLC has improved the aesthetics of its tourbillon regulators over the years. Now this one features their characteristic tri-spoke with one of them featuring an index so it can operate as the seconds hand. We have this lovely polished gold bridge that's continuously rounded and mirrored. This takes hours of decoration to execute like that. That is a Grubel 4C style bridge. Then the tourbillon cage itself is made of titanium, generally quite well done. It's difficult to finish parts that small and that hard, but they are beveled, they are satinated. The screws are blued by heat. They're not crudely dyed. We have a free-sprung architecture, so the adjustment's done using hairspring manipulation as well as masses in the rim itself. That allows for both a more precise adjustment and better shock resistance. It's a 4 hertz beat rate, so they're not playing any games here. A lot of tourbillon regulators use a lower beat rate. It's free-sprung, but it also has an overcoil hairspring that you can see right there. So in any physical position, it's going to be an excellent timekeeper with or without the tourbillon. 50 meters water resistant, which is something interesting. JLC always does that on dress watches with very few exceptions. It's more the standard dress watch, which is 30, but I still wouldn't take this swimming. Now you can see Côte de Soleil across the bridges of this caliber 978. It's an attractive look. Note the presence of both mirror polished and fire blued screws. We have this sunray motif. There's snailing on the edge of the bridges. You can see in the screw and the jewel sinks, as well as on the edges of the bridges, we have bevels here. The structure underpinning the tourbillon as well as the tourbillon cage is very nicely decorated. And then we have a thin bevel around all of the edges of the bridges. Taking a quick look, you can appreciate that the rotor has several different decorations. We've got a combination of polish and frosting along with beveling, and I appreciate them all. If you look carefully at the center, you can even see there's a little bit of media blast at the top of the JL logo. Note the solarization at the center of the ball bearing and the use of ceramic bearings for improved efficiency. It's also a unidirectional winder for more efficient winding. All of this with a 45-hour power reserve. It pivots on 33 joules. The movement is nicely sized for the case, and you will note this is the legendary 978, which won the original 2009 Concours de Chronométrie, and that chronometry competition, the Concours, was up against both JLC's own Gyro Tourbillon 2 and a bunch of trick pony movements that other brands brought out from their heritage departments. Those movements had been used as chronometry trials calibers back in the 20th century. Most of the entries that weren't JLC were actually heritage chronometry calibers, and not only did JLC beat all of them with this same basic movement, it beat the Gyro Tourbillon, which costs multiples of the price of this watch. And if you're asking what was the accuracy achieved by that caliber 978 at the Concours de Chronométrie, well, it was 47 seconds gained annualized over a year. Now, this watch has also been through the Master 1000 Hours control, which means it's been tested for winding efficiency, power reserve, durability, water resistance, and yes, 6-position chronometry as a fully cased-up watch, not a bare movement test like the COSC. And let us not forget, COSC is 2 weeks. 1000 hours is 41.6 days. And I've spoken to JLC watchmakers, and they tell me that the timing tolerance specifically that they're seeking for Tourbillon is better than a second a day. Like I said, this watch is the full package. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.